Lisa's little bird in the background always makes me think my phone's going off.
Oh, really? You have a Tweety? Okay.
I do.
Uh-huh.
All right, Coach Lee, welcome. Seeing you a couple times this week.
I was going to say that's officially stalking.
Well, who's stalking who? Am I stalking him or is he stalking me? I think it's mutual. And Judy and Jen. All right, let's hit it. Let's get started. 12:01. Welcome everyone to Friday's Growth Intentions with the third week in a row with our special productivity, just amazing human, Sajad Husain. Welcome, my friend, to the third installment of Growth Intentions with you. I am going to share some recordings as well. I'm going to put a little playlist together, Sajad's greatest hits. For those of you who are interested in Sajad's greatest hits, we were also live yesterday all over the place, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and had some little community discussions. So that was fun. All right, take it away, my friend.
We were also at Polarizing Networking yesterday as well.
Oh yeah, way too much time together this week. People are gonna start to talk.
Yeah, don't tell my girlfriend and my wife. Okay, thanks again for the opportunity. So today is a dream without a plan is a wish. No numbers are irrational or unreasonable, but you need to map it out. So the first thing to do is, one of my clients range from 24 years old to 72 years old. One of my former clients was a 72-year-old CFO for the past 17 years, chief financial officer, and she was forgetting things from her budget. And I say pretty much every client I work with is forgetting things. If it doesn't pay all your bills, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And even if you're already making 100,000 or 200,000 and you think, well, I know all my numbers, I'm totally under control. If you take a deep dive, you're probably going to find stuff that you were forgetting about. One of my clients had 4 companies. And after we went through all of his numbers together, he ended up saying, well, this company's making me all the money, and it's the one that I put the least amount of work into. And this company makes me the least amount of money, and it's where I put the most work into. So he said, what am I supposed to do? Shut that business down? And I said, I never tell my clients what to do, but the numbers speak for themselves. So on the personal side, what are you forgetting? You're forgetting about food, vacation, Sirius XM, and Netflix. On the professional side, insurance, attorneys, marketing, what else am I thinking there? Insurance, attorneys, marketing, accountants, right? So adding up all your numbers to make sure that all your bills are paid off your business, plus of course that you have extra money. And if you don't have all those costs yet, you still want to calculate for those costs. Hey, Charlie, I like Charlie. At one of the events, I heard Charlie and Suzanne talking behind my back. That was fun. Hear what people are really saying when you're not in the room. Very entertaining.
But your twin turbo enables you to do
that. So mapping out your personal nut and your professional nut is the first step. The second step is looking at your ROI and CAC. ROI is return on investment. You want to look at what are you doing with all your time and money for the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year. Suzanne, I just intentionally talked slower. I was about to talk really fast again. So are you doing networking groups? Are you doing podcasts? Are you doing presentations? Are you doing social media posts? What is it you've been doing with all your time and money for the last 3 months, the last 6 months, the last 9 months, and the last year? Go ahead, Sweets. And if it's not making you money, that's called personal time, not work hours. So Shared Connections is a group that I love. I think Jeff Lord's a great guy. I love the people there. He was at Polarizing Networking this week and came out openly about his sexuality, so I'm very proud of him. He came out as a heterosexual. I still don't believe it. But anyways, he's one of my friends.
His father appreciated his honesty.
So I go there, but it doesn't make money. So that doesn't count as a business activity. If you want to make way more money, focus on the things that make more money. So things that don't make more money are reading, researching, analyzing, creating. One of my clients had on his schedule flex time. I have no idea what that means, but focus on money-making activities and look at if what you're doing the groups that you're in, where are your clients actually coming from? Where are your qualified leads located? A qualified lead is somebody with the money and the desire for your services. So you can be doing things based on your feelings, and your feelings have nothing to do with your business. That sounds horrible, I bet. I don't care. It's not about feelings, it's about making money. Don't wish, don't hope, don't try, and don't count on luck, or you're going to struggle a whole lot. So you've looked at your personal nut, you've looked at your professional nut, you know your exact break even. And now you have a overall, you want to have a clear, quantifiable overall goal too. So what I've seen on my survey questions is that people will put, the question is, what does outrageous success look like to you in your business in 6 months from now? And people will say, I want a lot more clients, or I want to be doing a lot better. So that's not a clear goal, right? I'd say it's 95% of people never state a clear goal that they're trying to reach. So for this year, mine is 380,000. Then once you have your goal, we've looked at in workshop 2, your ROI and CAC. So you know what you're making on average per client. So you divide your bigger goal down by what you make on average per client, which tells you the number of clients you need to have per year. Divided by 12, you know the number of clients you need to have per month. You calculate how many people do you need to talk to get to a qualified lead. You look at the number of qualified, what is your land percentage when you're actually talking to a qualified lead? Mine's 90%. The 10% where I fail is because I tell too many jokes. And some people don't like jokes. But those aren't good clients for me either. Not to excuse the behavior, but anyways. So looking at what is your land rate on qualified leads? How many people do you need to talk to get to a qualified lead? So how many people do you need to be talking to in general per month to get the number of qualified leads on your calendar, to close the amount of deals, to hit the overall goal? I think the most important thing here is having a clear number for your goal. And like I said, in my experience, 95% of people just say, I want my business to do better. I want more people in my mastermind. It's a very ambiguous answer for what they actually want, which makes it, there's no accountability to the word better. Better is not quantifiable. It's qualifiable. But then you can't hold yourself to any kind of there's no accountability for yourself if you're not giving yourself a straight goal. I can tell you whether or not I hit my number or not, and then I succeeded or I failed. So breaking down your bigger goal into smaller goals. I never tell my clients what to do, but you want to stay consistent. I'm going to say that a few times too. So for example, so you're doing networking groups, podcasts, presentations, social media posts. You're going to talk about the number you're going to do of each one of those per day or per week, however you're going to lay it out. You're going to do the same thing for 90 days. And you're going to break down that bigger goal into smaller goals. And an example of making no money is podcasts. I've been doing those for however long, 10 years doing this work. I've never landed a client due to a podcast that I know of. Nobody ever hired me and said, because I heard you on this podcast. But I've gotten lots of clients from presentations. So breaking down the bigger goal into smaller goals. Right now, I'm sponsoring a golf course. So I had to pay the guy that owned the golf course. Then my writer had to write something. She gave that to my marketing guy. My marketing guy edited it. He gave it to my graphic designer who added the QR code and the logo. So those are the action steps. Then each action step gets a due date. And in being your own boss, you have to hold yourself accountable to your own due dates. So if you well, first off, you should have due dates for all your project management. Secondly, you have to hold yourself to it. So if you allow yourself to make an excuse for why you're not hitting due dates, you're probably never going to, let's see, how would I say? Maybe you'll rarely hit due dates, or it'll fluctuate on when you do and do not hit due dates if you not hold yourself strictly accountable. So those are the due dates. And then the quantifiable measurement is 5 clients within 2 months. So giving yourself a set goal. It's about operating with intention, but not being concerned with the outcome. At least you have an intentionality behind everything you're doing. So if you're going to a networking event or a presentation, you should be telling yourself, I'm going to do at least 2, if it's an hour event, I'm going to do 2 one-to-ones out of that. And how are you going to get one-to-ones? You're going to say, hey, you're going to DM people. Hey, Charlie, what you do sounds cool. I'd love to hear more and tell you about what I do. The second part is essential, saying, and tell you about what I do. Otherwise, when you meet with people, they're going to feel like you pulled a bait and switch on them. Because if you say, I'd love to hear more about what you do, they think that you want to hire them. If you say, I'd love to hear more about what you do and tell you about what I do, it makes it clear that it's a meeting where you both have the opportunity to pitch. To pitch is to concisely and clearly articulate massive value in a short period of time. Because there's some new people here and pitch is considered a bad word. Yes, operating with intention. What else here? Quantifiable measurements. Oh, running a business meeting. I heard a cool thing a month and a half ago about the difference between coaching and consulting. Coaching is where you're helping somebody with their mentality. Consulting is where you're helping them with the practical steps to their business. So on coaching, I'd say mentality of a business meeting. So here's how I teach it. So there's a lot of people out there that say it's all about know, like, and trust. It's all about go-giver. It's all about relationships, right? I think it's all about trust. If people trust that you can provide the solution to their problem, that's what matters most. And a lot of people have meetings where they're not actually running business meetings. They're getting get to know you meetings. So you're going to meetings with people and you're talking about your bird or your cat, or where you grew up, or what you like to eat, or what you did for fun. And you're not running business meetings. So here's what I teach my clients. Research people for 30 minutes to an hour before you meet with people to make sure that you know who they are and what they're about. Make sure on your calendar survey, you have 3 main questions. Number 1 is what is your current status of your business? Number 2, what barriers are you facing? Number 3, what does outrageous success look like for you? So that when you run your meeting, you can incorporate everything they're saying to you. So the first minute is form rapport. The way you do that is by figuring out something interesting on their LinkedIn and their website, or one of their posts. So it could be about places they've lived, they played tennis in high school, something interesting. 1 minute to form rapport. 2 minutes add value. So you've checked out their LinkedIn, you've checked out their website, and you've got to ask permission. So Lisa, I looked into you. Do you mind if I give you some feedback? You can't give people advice without asking permission first, and it shows people that you've put time into them, which I guess is going to make them like you a lot more, right? That you've put effort into researching them. And the opposite is when you meet with people and they know nothing about you. They haven't looked at your LinkedIn. They haven't looked at your website. They've invested nothing into you. And then how does that make you feel? And what does that make you think about them, right? So making sure you're researching people and then adding value. And then 8 minutes, they pitch. So you say, all right, Susan, tell me what you do. And you want them to go first. Whoever talks first loses. Because whoever talks second gets to collect data on the first person. So when people are talking to me, I'm taking little handwritten notes about everything they're saying. I have them reiterate the things they said on their calendar about where they're at now, what barriers they're facing, and where they want to go. And then after they pitch, I pitch, incorporating their specific needs in an interwoven way. So people will tell you how to sell them. You got to take what they say and say it back to them. So if people are saying, Jeff, what you do sounds great. Go ahead, sweets. Go ahead, sweets. That means you're doing a horrible fucking job. People should be saying, I need to hire you, or this sounds like it was made for me. And I met with a woman yesterday, and at the end of my pitch, I even said that to her during my pitch. At the end of my pitch, she said, I need to hire you. This is exactly what I need. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, oh, I just told you that 5 minutes ago. That's what I think I subconsciously planted a seed to tell her what she was supposed to say to me. Go ahead, Suzanne.
I wanted to leave a few minutes today to actually show, screen share, show how I research somebody. Even just looking at their LinkedIn profile, there's a couple things you can look for, and a spot to go to their website right from LinkedIn. And one of the things, and I'll share that if there's time. If I go to someone's LinkedIn profile and there's no contact info, under contact info, there's no email, there's no phone number, there's no website, I know typically they're not real serious about meeting people. They're not serious about doing business on LinkedIn. And it might not be worth me meeting with them for that purpose, but that's immediate value I can provide. Like, hey, have you thought about those 80 people that looked at your LinkedIn profile in the last 3 months? And they say, wait, there's been 80 people who looked at my LinkedIn profile in the last 3 months? Why, yes. Here, let me show you where that is. And immediately I'm providing that value for them. So if we have time for that, we'll pop that.
Yeah,
in.
we'll have plenty of time. I'm almost done. That means we could talk for 3 more hours, right? So, what was I thinking right there? Oh, I don't have my clients share their email or their phone number. The only thing I want to do, and what I suggest my clients do, is get people on your calendar. So by getting people on your calendar, you get that data. Why they're meeting with you, where did they come from, what barriers are they facing, what does outrageous success look for them. It also puts you in a position of power. So when people ask me to get on their calendar, I just say I can't do that because I get really confused when I do that, which is true. It causes me a lot of anxiety because I have a fear that I'm yeah, I know, but there's 3 humans here too. I have a fear that I'm going to miss the meeting if it's not on my calendar through my system. But I also don't get the data, and it also puts me in the position of power. So that's why I don't suggest my clients. I don't want people calling me, definitely not calling me, because then I can't research them before I meet with them. And I don't want them really emailing me, because that's just all I'd be doing is emailing them my calendar back. So I suggest just post your calendar everywhere, unless, I don't know, maybe you want people calling you or emailing you. I don't want emails or phone calls. I just want people on my calendar. Oh, the lies we tell ourselves. So when my clients hire me, they say I'm working 15 to 17 hours a day or 12 to 15 hours a day. And then what my clients do is submit an hour-by-hour schedule every night before they go to sleep for the next day with quantifiable measurements. So from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., you said you're doing emails. Are you doing 3 emails or are you doing 30 emails? You have an employee named Mike. You're paying Mike $200,000 a year. If your employee handed you your schedule, what questions would you be asking your employee? Because people are lying to themselves all the time. They have on there as work time, reading, researching, creating, analyzing, and people come to me because they want to make a lot more money rapidly. Those things will not help you make a lot more money rapidly. So they might help you make more money overall in the longer term. But if you're trying to make as much money as quickly as possible, you need to make sure that you're focused on money-making activities, which is get yourself in front of people. There's a lot of people. I know Suzanne's group is a lot more ruminating. I love that one. I had to look that one up. It was on somebody's schedule. Suzanne's group is has much more successful people, but you'll see a lot of these people at these. I meet with them and ask them what they're doing, and it's a lot of time spent creating instead of put together a product. Learn how to pitch your product, get yourself in front of as many people as possible, and then start selling or try and sell, right? So people are spending lots of time doing the things they like to do, which is not necessarily the things you need to be doing. The number one thing you need to be doing with your business is most likely the number one thing that you're avoiding doing, because people have a natural tendency to do the things they like. So one of my clients, she loved socializing, and I banned her from talking to people on Mondays and Fridays, and she doubled her income. One of my clients spent 90% of his time on his website because he hated talking to people. And I said, why are you doing this? And he said, I have to have a great website or nobody's going to hire me. At the time, I didn't have a website. I said, but you hired me. I didn't have a website. So People do the things they like to do and they avoid the things they don't like doing. I don't like doing tech and I don't like doing taxes. I have a bookkeeper. I have an accountant.
Can you say that again?
Uh,
Repeat.
people avoid the things they don't like doing and do the things they do like doing. So the number one thing you probably need to be doing with your business is the number one thing you're avoiding. And it's the thing that just sits on your desk for 2 weeks, like my taxes. I have a bookkeeper and I have an accountant, and I still let my taxes sit there for 2 freaking weeks. Yeah, yeah. My girlfriend in law school made fun of me because I wrote a poem about how I was working 3 jobs, running a nonprofit, cooked for my girl, and she wrote a poem back to me, and it was, how I did all these things great. The only thing I didn't do was my homework for law school, because it's the number one thing I didn't want to do. Was the number one thing I was supposed to be doing during law school was law school. I created a nonprofit organization. I had a girlfriend. I had 3 jobs. I did a bunch of community work. I did everything I could to avoid doing the number one thing I graduated though, but we're always avoiding. So I avoid tech and taxes. So like with Suzanne, or I partner with people that do the things. Suzanne's really good at tech. Kristen Spencer, my partner with Polarizing Networking, she's really good at tech. So I find people who are good at that part, because if it's up to me, I was just talking to Jen yesterday, asking her to do some things. If she could do some things, I could pay her for it. And I was telling her how it's easy stuff, like sending out a MailChimp email intimidates me. I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up. So I've been wanting to send an email for 2 weeks. Haven't done it. So anyways, so the number one thing you need to be doing with your business is probably the number one thing that you're avoiding. Oh, and the lies we tell ourselves. So people say they're working 12 to 15 to 17 hours a day. After they submit 3 schedules to me, and if you look at what you're doing from outside of yourself, if you really be your own boss, people are working between 3 and 5 hours a day on average. They're very busy. They're doing lots of stuff. They're like a hamster in a wheel, right? Productivity does not equal activity, or activity does not equal productivity. So doing lots of stuff doesn't matter. I have a friend of mine who's had a fake ass business for 15 years now. If it doesn't pay all your bills, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And he calls me once a month. Oh, I got interviewed by a major newspaper. My new book is now an audio book. 15 years he's been telling me this. And I don't think he likes talking to me, although we're good friends. Because I'll say, how much money did you make this week? Because he's doing lots of stuff. And you get these drugs, you get dopamine and serotonin, right? I did a partnership, I did a referral deal, I did an affiliate deal, I'm doing a collaboration. It's poor people doing deals with other poor people. And they're feeling good about it. They're not measuring, is that making you money or not? The craziest one I heard, most of my clients are women, and a lot of them initially join women's groups. And then when they analyze it, one of the women's group, they did, what kind of princess would you be? With grown women. That was 1 hour of what kind of princess would you be? And so thinking about, figuring out what kind of princess would you be, does that help you make money? And if not, that's recreational time, right? So yeah, on that, creating that hour by hour schedule, I distracted people with the princess question.
Well, I was just thinking, well, Lisa and I started voguing, so it shows you how old we are. I immediately thought, if somebody asked me that question in a networking group, I might say I'd be a knight.
Nice.
I don't want to be a princess. Anyway, squirrel.
Schedule.
That's funny. So here I'm going to put in here. Oh, anytime you're presenting, don't talk the whole time. If they give you 1 hour, talk for 30 minutes, do Q&A for 30 minutes, because you're going to land clients during the Q&A. You don't land clients when you're talking. A lot of my clients struggle with this. I think it's due to ego. They want to talk for the whole time. That's not how you're going to make money. You make money by actually engaging with people. So that's what we have left right here. Yeah, there was a lady yesterday too at my event who volunteered. I met with her a year ago, and she said, "What you do sounds extremely valuable, and I just don't want to work that hard." And I said, "I respect that you're not that you're." I like it when people tell me they're not going to work, because I don't want you to hire me, because you're going to get fired in 3 weeks. I'm going to keep your money. It's not going to be fun for me. It's not good for my brand, and it's not going to be fun for you. But yesterday she confessed at the meeting that she wasn't making any kind of money, and she had fallen for a bunch of frauds. So we've talked about this. We touched on it the last couple of meetings. Be careful about who you hire to make sure you talk to their clients. Lots of people claim to be experts, especially LinkedIn experts, but make sure that they can do what they purport to do. And don't buy from them because you like them. Make sure that not just, and I've seen this again with a lot of women, 2 weeks into my program, my clients say, "How come I didn't learn any of this in my other program?" I say, "I have no idea." And they paid 20 grand for it, right? I say, "Why did you hire that lady?" They say, "Well, she was rich." That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the coach is rich. You got to talk to their clients and ask their clients, what did they get out of that? And ask them specific questions about what they're going to learn. If they're not teaching you how to pitch first, how to articulate massive value concisely and clearly, then that's automatically a fraud. Because if you don't know how to do that, I've met with people that were 6 months into a program or a year into a program. I said, "Pitch me." They said, "Well, we haven't got to that yet." Well, what have you been doing for 6 months or a year if you haven't learned to articulate the value of your service? It doesn't make any sense. That's all I have on my list. Let's engage.
Yeah, let's take some insights, and number one thing you're spending time doing that is not making you money.
And what's the number one thing you're avoiding?
Oh, I know what I'm avoiding. It woke me up in the middle of the night last night. And that is an email nurture sequence that goes out to anybody that subscribes for anything, community, newsletter. And I've been agonizing over it, and it's already written. It's already done. I just didn't feel like setting up the technology piece of it. And I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I said, I'm done losing sleep over the people who aren't receiving communication from me. And I got up and did it and then went back to bed.
I think that's what's really good about having an hour to hour schedule with quantifiable measurements created the day before. You put on the list what's going to get done. And then there's a second part to it, which is being your own boss. What I found with people, and I bet you that's true of pretty much everybody in this room, I don't think Suzanne, but most people are way too easy on themselves.
No.
So
I'm the opposite.
I know, but the most successful people are the opposite, right? Like the smartest people are the ones that ask the most questions. The dumbest people are the ones that don't think they need any help. So, but holding yourself like strictly accountable to what you say you're going to get done, because you can't be your own boss if you're not being your own boss. I had a lady yawn at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I was talking to her, one of my clients. I said, "What would you say to your employee if they were yawning at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?" She said, "Oh, I'd tell them to get a cup of coffee and take a 10-minute walk." This is what people tell me that they would tell their employee. It's a total lie. You're not holding yourself, most likely. I'll say it this way, nicer. Most people that I've dealt with are not holding themselves accountable as they would if they were their own employee. Lots of time fucking around, watching YouTube videos, calling that work, reading books, calling that work, creating stuff and calling that work. That's why you're not making the money you want to make. If you're making 30,000, you should be making 100,000. You're making 100,000, you should be making 300,000. It's because it's too much time spent playing around and not creating the schedule and then sticking strictly to it.
Everybody's like a deer in the headlights right now. So let's get some conversation started. What do you need to work on? From this conversation and your schedule, what needs to go? What is on that calendar right now? Maybe it's even this afternoon. What's on there that you know is not going to make you any money? It's not going to put you in front of your ideal clients, but yet you're going to spend time doing it.
Well, first
I
after
know.
this appointment, I am going to get my nails done.
Oh, well, that's different. We talked about being a princess a little bit earlier, right before
Okay.
you hopped on.
I would tell you,
Uh,
I would tell you, my clients would justify that as I have to look good for my meetings. That it's justification. People justify their actions all the time.
But Casey could get that nail salon as a client. So
Yeah.
it could be working. It could be working.
I don't know that I'd consider it working, but
Charlie, what were you going to say?
I'm going to go back and look at my calendar over the last month or two. And I'm going to begin putting each block of time into a category, as Scott had suggested, and come out and say what percentage of my time was devoted to revenue generating activity. And then what portion of that was conversations with potential suspects, prospects, clients, whatever. I'm going to go back and do that. And I'm going to have to take somebody out to the woodshed when I'm finished.
I think you bring up a good point there too, Charlie. Something that happens after my clients do this for 2 or 3 weeks when they do the day, because the daily schedule has to be submitted to me every night before they go to sleep, or I guarantee you they're not going to sleep that night. And they evolve to start blocking days. So for me, Mondays I work with clients, Tuesdays I have networking events, Wednesday, Thursdays I have my pitch meetings and networking events. Fridays I do admin, and then Suzanne asked me to do this, so now I'm changing up my Fridays slightly. And then Saturday, and every day I'm doing 5 social media posts, and then on the weekends it's just, it's everything. So I batch. Oh, this is another good idea. Batching your food and batching your social media posts. So make a lot of food on Sunday and then freeze it in containers. I do Pakistani food, chicken masala and keema. And then I buy fresh vegetables, make rice, bread, yogurt, carrots, cucumbers, and ground beef or chicken. And I have fresh, fast food that's delicious and cheap, and batching social media. So on Sundays, I don't do it all the time, but I do 45 posts in 30 minutes. And then I put those on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube every day. So batching on the weekends and doing also, this is another inspired thought by Charlie, doing things on the weekends that you can't do during the week. Don't do things during the week that you can do during the weekends, because you can't do them during the week. So there's a lot of like administrative work, or like what Suzanne talked about tech stuff, setting things up. Those are good weekend activities.
Now, my tip, I color code my calendar. So I have an electronic calendar, but every night I plan my next day and I put my meetings or whatever I'm doing and I color code it. So green in my calendar is somebody who's paying me. So that's time where I'm receiving money for an appearance or a client or a group. Red is money making potential. That's a discovery call, a one-on-one meeting. That's it. Pink is networking, get to know you, or a networking group or a podcast appearance. Blue is an appointment outside of work, and I make sure that there's only one blue thing a week during my work hours. And sometimes I have to finagle work hours to fit in a hair appointment, a nail appointment, a chiropractor appointment, and all of that other stuff. Taking care of me is also on the calendar, and I know that's not work time, so it's in the morning before my work hours, but it's on the calendar every day, blocked. That's my exercise, meditation, ruminating, sleeping, because I think I'm meditating and I fall asleep, but that is on the calendar. and it's not part of the workday. And that has been huge, because now looking at my paper calendar this week, I have an equal balance of green, red, and pink. That means I did a great job within the past couple weeks putting people into the calendar. And it's kind of like a dance. If you know you need 10 clients a month, or you want 10 clients right now, 10 one-on-one clients, you know you have to meet with 20 or 30 people to get 10 yeses, and you don't have those in your calendar and you don't have space for those people, how are you going to be successful? So color coding has been life-changing for me. I don't care who the pink people are this afternoon. I've already researched them yesterday, but I know that they're pink. So that has potential to be red next week. So depending on how that conversation goes, they might be in my calendar next week for something red.
Somebody else had their hand up, and then there was 2 more questions which I wanted to address. Somebody else have their hand up?
Well, I did. First, I was going to say, it is in my calendar to shut my computer off at 2:00 on Fridays to take my personal time on the beach. But what I have scheduled for the next few weeks, because I realized like I'm vomiting posts all the time, right? Like blah, 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 blah. And what I have scheduled is for the next 2 weeks, I have calls with collaborators on a project that I'm working on that will give them visibility and also give my clients massive value. Then when I come back from 4-day vacation, then I have scheduled one-on-one calls with people. I have been doing this for so long. I have so many people in my barrel. One-on-one calls with people who would be interested, I think, in either becoming a member in my upcoming program or will be great referral sources for me. So I'm trying to be very strategic in limiting the vomiting of information and being much more strategic about having one-on-one conversations. It's outside of my comfort zone. Talking on the phone and talking one-on-one is not always my comfort zone.
I have 2 thoughts on that. Too much. So multitasking is doing 2 things wrong at once. And everybody's very proud of their multitasking. It's stupid. You're way less productive and way less effective when you're jumping around from one thing to the other. And so I catch my clients all the time because they'll be on LinkedIn or some other social media, and I have their schedule. So I'm like, why are you there? That's not that's not what you're supposed to be doing right now. So you jump around and you think that's great. See, the problem is dopamine and serotonin, right? The problem is the drugs that make you feel good about yourself by living in chaos. And you're getting off on the chaos. You enjoy the chaos. So you don't want structure, you don't want organization. Mostly you don't want accountability. You don't want to have to hold yourself to a standard. So yeah, multitasking is not a good thing. And then giving away too much. Susan inspired another thought here. If you are selling intellectual property, if you're a coach or a consultant and you spend too much time giving too much to somebody, they will not hire you. And then you won't take accountability. You'll blame them. That person's taking advantage of me. I heard this during the meeting yesterday. All these people are taking, no. You are allowing them to take advantage of you because you want to feel good about yourself because you're such a great person. You're a great poor person who's helping out all these people. If you give more than 30 minutes of your time away, there was a guy the other day, he said to me, we got along really well. And he wanted to hire me. He couldn't afford me right now, allegedly. He told me all his money though, and it added up to more than what I charged. But he said, okay, cool. So how do we stay in touch, Sajad? I said, what? I'm not staying in touch with you. Get money. Come back when you have money. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to stay in. What stay in touch means is, and I've had many people do this to me. I think more men than females. They'll like DM me and say, hey, how's your day going, bro? And I'm like, the fuck? Why? What do you mean? I'm not your friend. And they're like, oh, all you care about is money. Yeah, I have 23 friends. I don't want any more friends. I mean, if I make friends along the way, fine, but this is my job. I'm here to make money. The reason you're broke is because you're not focused on money, you're focused on relationships. and you're giving away so much. You give away more than a half hour of your time or an hour of your time, then when people come back, they expect it for free because you've made it worthless. What you are selling is your intellectual property. You're selling your brain. And I screw this up sometimes because I end up falling in love with people like Lee or other people. I like Lee a lot. There's people I haven't made this mistake, but I was thinking about it. I've made this mistake. Even within the last 6 months, I helped somebody out for like an hour and a half. Then he didn't hire me. Of course he didn't hire me because my value is worthless because I gave it away without charge, which means that it's worthless. And then when you do ask for money, they get upset with you, right? Because now you're being a dick. Why are you being such an asshole? I'm just asking you for free service. You know, it's your fault, not theirs. My pitch. So I help my clients do their 30-second pitch, their 4-minute pitch, and their 8-minute pitch. I'll do something in between. I'll do less than 4 minutes, like longer than 30, but not the 8-minute pitch. You meet with me. I think too, if you meet with me, and I won't try to sell you. That's not what I do. My goal is to add massive value when I meet with people. And I turn down more than half the people that want to hire me because I don't want to work with losers. I don't want to work with people that are going to fail because it's not fun for me then. And it's bad for my brand if my clients fail. So 96% of my clients succeed. That's because I turn down more than half the people that want to work with me. So cause and effect consulting is changing the world by becoming extremely well organized. You will significantly increase your productivity and you will substantially reduce your stress. I'm going to run you through a 6-week business development boot camp where I'm going to beat you with a freaking stick. I'm going to ignore your stupid feelings. You're going to hate me for 6 weeks. You're going to be in love with me in 4 months from now. When you hire me, we're going to work together up to 1 hour per week. I'm on call 24/7. I don't take off on weekends and I don't celebrate holidays. You're going to get 1 hour of homework. It's an entertaining and educational video. You're going to take copious handwritten notes to ensure that it pounds in your subconscious and that you're not multitasking. You get access to my online course as well as my online community. It's 20 other entrepreneurs like you. Suzanne's in my group. She's not a former client of mine, but she put me in her group. I put her in my group. They all help each other without charge. A lot of my former clients are really well-known people. Jen Carpenter's in there, Scott Humphrey's in there, Michelle Murder's in there, and they all help each other without charge. A lot of times they collaborate, but legitimately collaborate to make money with each other, and they support each other in many different ways. There's a wins section in my online community where you get to celebrate your wins, and there's a section called fuck ups, where you admit to the ways you're bullshitting yourself during that day. There's also a chat where you can talk about your dog, your cat, your bird, tell racist jokes or show recipes, whatever. Total freedom of speech, whatever you want to do, but it's a community of support. I've also brought on 8 of my former clients who will support you throughout the process. One will help you with your LinkedIn. One will help you with LinkedIn posting. Scott Humphreys will help you with branding. Jada will help you with your numbers. Michelle Murder will help you with your closing. And then I have somebody that does the daily scheduling with my clients. So you have 8 people supporting you throughout my program, plus 20 other entrepreneurs supporting you as well. I was former attorney for over 4 years. I won all my cases, including trial work. I own a very successful tech company for 6 years, doing custom websites, custom CRMs, and providing business consulting. So my 4-bed, 2-bath house is paid off in cash. I drive a $76,000 twin turbo, and my girlfriend's super hot. She's not with me from personality, obviously. I was also deputy chief of staff for the state of Illinois, 4th in charge of a $1.2 billion agency, in charge of project management for the state. I'm old, I'm just really good looking. So that's an abbreviated version of my pitch. I'd say we already covered this the last 2 meetings, but make sure you're starting with an emotional connect in your pitch. People buy in the subconscious based upon emotion. They don't buy based upon logic. So don't start out by saying, my name is Marcy, and here's what I do, and here's how I do it. How do your clients feel by working with you? So my clients become extremely well organized, which significantly increases their productivity and substantially reduces their stress. Don't say the what and the how, say the why, and not your why because you don't matter. Your name doesn't matter. Your company name doesn't matter. I didn't introduce myself when I started this presentation. I didn't introduce myself last week. I didn't introduce myself the week before, and I won't be introducing myself next week because it's irrelevant. Only thing that matters is how I can help make your life and business better. That's all people care about is themselves. And then make sure you have the 3 packages. So package A, package B, package C, and the 5 added values of each one of your packages, and then the processes. So the logistics. Take the potential client in front of you and put them in the shoes of somebody that's already working with you. Tell them what it looks like to work with you. There's one more question. We could do whatever you want, Suzanne, it's your show.
Who else had a question?
Charlie asked about dealing with emotions and bad days and having downs. I do. I mean, there's sometimes I don't even want to be alive. I'm suicidal, or, but intellectually, not biologically. Just, life fucking sucks that day. It doesn't change what I do. So what I teach my clients is when you're in a hole, quit digging. So don't take a bad situation and make it worse. I was a social worker for 16 years in the hood. I helped this young man. It was a funny story. His girlfriend brought him to me and said, "This dude's a fucking loser. You got to make my man do something." So I got him a job. I got him in college, right? And then 3 weeks later, she came to me with him and complained that he was never around. But I'm like, yeah, well, he's working and going to school full time now. So this is what you asked me to do it. But this is what happens. A lot of people in the hood are raised by their grandmas, right? So his grandma dies. He gets depressed. So he takes a break from college, which, you take a break, you got to pay them that money back before they loan you more money, right? And then he acted shitty at his job that I got him, got fired from his job. Then he lost his girl, right? Because now he's a bum again. So don't take a bad situation that you're in and make it worse. If you're in a bad situation, get out of it. When you're in a hole, quit digging. Get out of the hole. I had a girl I dated last year that was here. I flew her in from New York, and we were arguing, and she was stressing me out. It didn't go good. And then I was running my meetings. She was sitting on the couch, and I was doing exactly what I did every single time, right? Same energy, same presentation. And then afterwards, I'm like, "So what do you think about, my business?" She said, "You're extremely resilient," because she knew she had been torturing me for 3 days. And in the hood, I would tell the young people too, I said, "How do I feel right now?" They're like, "You feel great every day." I'm like, "What if I told you I feel like killing myself right now?" Like you would never know. That's what professional etiquette is. And this is about being your own boss. So if you got a job, you can't go to work and be like, "Well, my grandma died and my girlfriend's giving me hell." And you got to put on the face, man. That's I can cry before this meeting. Actually, I'm in a great mood right now, but I could cry. Maybe I'm lying. I could cry before this meeting. I can cry after this event, but during the event, I gotta pop. Every single time you meet with me, you'll never see me different. I just don't make bad situations worse. I keep going, I keep producing. I know entrepreneurship is ebb and flow. I know life is ebb and flow. You fall in love, you fall out of love. You get a dog, life is wonderful. You make a lot of money, you don't make any money for 2 months. Yeah, I just don't change anything. And for my clients, one of their main problems is they start freaking out. They start hiring other people. They start using different hashtags on LinkedIn. They just start tripping. They stop following what I teach. They get tired. One of my clients made 12 grand in the 6 weeks of my program and then quit doing what I taught him. He hired a sales coach for 3 grand. I'm like, the fuck would you hire a sales coach? You just made 12 grand off of nothing. He had nothing. When he hired me, his pitch was, "We're going to read a book together and then meet once a week for an hour." That was his pitch. And I was like, "You want $3,000 to read a book with you? I don't want to read a book with you, bro." And he's a very handsome young man, but I don't want to. So then I pitched and he said, "Oh, that's how you do it." And then he said, "How do I send you money?" I said, "Any way you like to send it is my favorite way to take it." So yeah, you can't change it up when it's not going good. I don't change anything. I'll land 5 or 10 clients in 2 weeks and I won't land any clients for 2 months. And I never change anything that I'm doing. And my attitude does not change. Suzanne and I were talking about this the other day. You can't start getting desperate. You can't say, "All I need is get this one deal." It's like saying all I need to do is get laid. You're not going to get laid. You're not going to get that deal because you're going to be cringy. Your energy is going to be all weird. I met with a lady yesterday and she's like, I don't really have the money, but I definitely want to hire you, or I need to hire you, right? Are you going to pressure me? I said, no, man. Have a good day. See you later. So yeah, having the right energy and the right attitude, and not changing just because it sucks. That's what entrepreneurship is. I mean,
I think that was the biggest lesson, honestly, is the not tweaking or changing the approach, refining the approach. Like every time I changed what I was saying, I was changing it based on a product or the person instead of changing it to the emotional connection. And I'll give you this example. The emotional connection piece, instead of saying, you know, hey, I'm Suzanne Taylor King and I'm a life and business coach for entrepreneurs, starting off with the emotional piece has gotten, there's been 7 appointments that have come across my computer within the past 2 days, just from my networking events this week. And I didn't ask for those appointments. They're people who heard the emotional connection in what I was saying. And that's only been within the past couple months that I was able to really articulate what that emotional connection is. And it's been life-changing, the difference.
Share the latest version with us, please.
I guide entrepreneurs in extracting their intellectual property so that they can finally feel like they have a tangible product to sell at a higher price with less effort.
There you go. Well done. Well done.
That's fucking dope. Okay, 2 more things because of what Suzanne said.
Okay.
So I tell people when I'm pitching them that within 3 weeks, your calendar will be booked out for the next 2 months. And after people hire me, they always say, that's the only time I thought you were lying to me. And then 2 weeks in, they're like, man, I'm booked out for a month and a half. I'm like, yeah, I know. And they're like, no, I didn't believe you when you said that. And it's not booked out with all qualified leads, but it's booked out. That's without you doing any outreach. That's no emails. That's no funnel. That's no phone calls. That's doing nothing except being able to show massive value. And you'll stand out different than everybody else. Because the good thing is most people suck. So the bar is low to being excellent. And Jen will tell you, she did this. All my former clients in the 3rd week of my program become extremely pretentious. And they say, man, none of these idiots know how to show value. I'm like, well, neither did you 3 weeks ago. And they say, Sajad, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about all these idiots. So, yeah, operating with having a clear overall big picture plan, having a day-to-day schedule, and operating with intention will completely change your business. And they're simple. At the end of my program, everybody says, all this stuff was so simple. It's just 1,000 simple things that make a major difference. And then there's 2 elephants. The first elephant is create your pitch, memorize your pitch so that you can perform your pitch. You got to be able to perform your pitch so that even if you're drunk, high, in a coma, or coming out of a coma, in the middle of the night, your spouse slaps you in your nose, you can wake up and pitch. Like when Marcy said, can you do your pitch? Fucking hey, I can do my all day, every day, drunk. I don't get high, but drunk, high, coming out of a coma, in the middle of the night, I can do my pitch and I perform it. It's a freaking show every time. That's the first elephant. And a lot of people hire me too because they say, wow, that was fun. You know, that was exciting. Give me 1 second.
And I will say something to the effect of the performance piece. Go and watch some improv comedy videos on YouTube and see how the banter goes back and forth. That's how it should feel. It should feel entertaining. It should feel engaging. And hopefully you're going to take these things and be so booked out that you'll have to do what I did and go to a group get to know you call. So if somebody wants to get to know Suzanne and her community, you go to my scheduling link, and when people schedule, it tells them it's a group call. And then you get an email confirming that it's a group get to know you call. And guess what? That saved me 8 or 10 hours a week, just having one of those group calls every week. So if you're curious about that, I'm happy to show you how to do that.
So the first
You got
elephant,
4 minutes.
I got it. Create, memorize, be able to perform your pitch. The second elephant is incorporating their specific needs in an interwoven way. So you should be able to hit on 5 to 10 of the things that they're saying and say, Suzanne, you remember how you're telling me you were really smart and really hardworking, but you're stressed out because you're not getting the results. Well, here, during this mapping or during the ROI CAC workshop 2, we're going to do what Charlie said he's going to do. We're going to look back at the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year, and see what results have you been actually getting to make sure you're doing things based on numbers, not feelings. 12 hours sounds like a lot of work unless you're productive. If you're producing massive results by what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work at all. It feels great, right? Had my 1 hour event yesterday, got 2 qualified leads on my calendar for a bit. That's an hour. That's an hour well spent. If you're working your ass off and you're really smart and you're not getting the results, that's when it's horrible. That's when it feels terrible. So yeah, making sure you're incorporating their specific needs in an interwoven way. Jeff, what do you think? You're the only person I don't know a little bit.
I think I'm in the right place.
Oh, that's cool. That's more
Yeah,
positive.
you and I share a fellow mentor, Jim Rohn. You and I
Nice.
had a one-to-one breakout in Suzanne's last, and my jaw hit the floor just like it did now. That's why I'm just shut the hell up and just listen, brother. That's all.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Yeah. Jim
Yeah, you're
Rohn is
welcome.
a homework for workshop 6, and that one is it's a 2-hour video. It's the universal one that everybody loves and agrees with. Even I had a guy that hired me, his worst client I ever had before. We're friends now. He's making 20 to 30,000 a month now. So now he loved me afterwards before, but he obviously loves me more now. But he was a former military leader and a former corporate executive. And anything I would say, he would say, well, that one sounds good. Or he'd say, hey, I tried that thing you said, that worked. And I told him, text everybody in your phone and tell them that, you set up a new website, a new brand, can they check it out and give feedback? And he called me on Monday, did it on Friday. He said, that's the stupidest advice I ever got in my whole freaking life, man. I said, why was that the stupidest advice you ever got in your life? He said, only 2 out of 100 people responded to me. I said, bro, that's 2 more people. It's not bad that 98 people ignored you. It's good that 2 talked to you. But yeah, he saw the Jim Rohn, and then he sent it to a bunch of his friends. He's like, these idiots aren't even watching it. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's a good thing. What I'm drawn to the most, if I could just take 30 seconds, is I think we all crave our own authenticity. I think we all crave to flow in our own flow. And when we meet people like you, Sajad, and others I haven't had a chance to converse with, but I have, Suzanne, that flow is what we desire the most.
Yeah.
And when we feel people that are in it, it's very attractive.
It's an energy thing, Jeff.
Yeah, sure.
When I was a kid, we said, hey, we got the same vibe. When I was younger, that was the big thing, right? We had the same vibe. So it's what a jazz group does. When they're really together, they're in a flow. It's all energy, right? And, you either like Sajad's directness and honesty because he doesn't BS. He never says anything that he hasn't tried on himself. So there's authenticity in that, what he does. You may not like the style. It may not go over good in your synagogue, but guess what? It doesn't matter. He's not talking about that. He's talking about you being successful in your business beyond just making friends and building relationships and being trusted. How can you leverage all that and monetize it? That's what he's all about.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, the lady that met with me yesterday was going to hire me said, I don't think I really like you. I said, I don't really care. I don't, my contract has 12 provisions on it. And one of them says, we are not friends. I am your coach. One of my former clients, she sent me a 2-page DM. I spent all last night crying because of what you're doing to me. And I said, what the fuck are you sending me this shit for? I don't care if you're crying. You're poor. You should cry. Bad to be poor. Now she's from Hungary. She's made $3,000 in the last 3 weeks, which is like 300,000 over there, because 8,000 is 1.28 million. Just so you know, I've been paid $1.28 million before. She said, "Do you want to know how much this is going to cost me?" I said, "Please don't tell me the exchange rate from Hungary. I already put enough pressure on myself for my clients to succeed. I don't need to know that you paid me $1.28 million." But she got 3 deals, and yeah. It's not. I don't know. I think people are very confused. As somebody said, Lisa said at the meeting at Polarizing Networking yesterday, this pendulum has swung too far, and now people are confused. Jen, Scott Humphreys, a lot of my former clients were very well loved, but love doesn't mean brand goodwill does not equal dollars. So if you're famous and loved, how much money are you making? I'm sure you're not making as much money as I'm making. I mean, there's very few people in the United States that make as much money as I make. So that's for I have a personal life and I have a personal side, right? So, but this is business. This is business. This is personal. And they're not the same. It's not. One is about money. One is about everything else. The first thing I got to do is pay my bills. And that's the first thing my clients need to do too. And you can, if you're loved, that doesn't, you have lots of relationships, you're really well known, lots of people like you. How much money are you making? 30 grand a year, 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year? That's easy. I've helped hypnotherapists make 120,000 a year. You guys have legitimate, not that that's illegitimate. You guys have less woo-woo businesses. You're not making 120 grand? How? If a hypnotherapist can do it. He's not a famous hypnotherapist. He's just a hypnotherapist. He's short with fancy hair.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Anything else, Suzanne?
No, we're going to wrap up. I said I would stay if anybody wants to hang out and practice some pitching. I'm going to hang out for a little bit, but if you have to go, you have to go. It's 1 o'clock, 1:03. Actually, I don't like to run late, but
To Sajad's point, I want to read an email I got this morning. So I had a meeting with this woman from another group that I'm in, Sajad. And she says, I need to talk to you about what's next, because that's my little tagline. So we had a nice conversation about what's next. What do you charge? She starts asking those kind of questions at the end. I said, listen, I don't have enough information to figure out what I do with you. So let's set up another meeting. So she went away for a week. Now she comes back. And the last line of her thing is she's prioritizing other things in her life. Her last line of, nothing of this would have been possible without you and your questions. I am forever grateful. That's a kiss off. She's kissing me off without pissing me off. So I have to hold her accountable. I have to go back and hold her accountable or she will not respect me.
Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, dude.
May I offer a suggestion on that?
Go right ahead.
Close on the first call. So close while the people are emotional, because anytime somebody walks away from a deal, what do they think? What do you think about when you don't buy on the first call? Do
I don't really need that.
Do I really need that? Fuck, I love you, Suzanne. Do I?
Yeah.
Same sentence, man.
Yep.
Do I really need that? Is this really the person I want to work with? Maybe I can figure this out on my own. Can I really afford to hire him? Do I really even like her? They think all negative thoughts. They don't think about Charlie was great. I can't wait to work with Charlie. They think, oh, I don't need, I figured this out on my own now. That's why I don't do any follow-up. I don't do any funnels. You're not going to hear from me again. I won't even forget. I do like Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. You're dead to me. I had a guy. Go ahead, Lisa.
I was just going to say, women tend to do that when they go shopping and they see something that has a hefty price tag on it. What we'll say is, well, not me anymore, because I've learned the hard way. they'll say, well, okay, I'll go away for a week and let it vegetate, ruminate. And if I still want it in a week, then I'll go get it. If it's not still there when I go look for it, it wasn't meant to be. That's a lot of the stuff that women do in their shopping for pricey things that are for personal stuff.
I'd
So-
say my experience, it's men as well. So
Oh,
I'm trying to close on that first call while you're emotional, while you're all excited. Like
yeah, yeah.
yesterday, she's like, well, I don't want to have you sitting here while I'm looking for this money. I said, oh, this is fine. I have time.
Okay. I didn't know men did that too.
You're looking for the money. I have time when you're looking for the money. I have a cell phone when you want to pay me? Here's my cell phone number. You don't want to pay me? Here's my calendar. Well, you're booked out for a month. I know. Wait, do you want to hire me? Here's my cell phone number. If you want to hire me, you can do it right now. I
Yeah.
give you my cell phone number. If not, you can get on my freaking calendar.
That is one thing I noticed that a lot of people, a lot of coaches in particular, make it so difficult to actually hire them, whether it's, a screen of, they don't actually talk to you. You have to go to some random website, fill out an application and do all these things. I'm not doing that. Forget it. If I can't talk to you, I'm not hiring you. But they put all these barriers in place. And I even noticed this with one of my clients who was a doctor. She was a chiropractor who did functional medicine, super talented, super smart, but scared to death to make it easy for somebody to pay. Oh, they have to send me a check, or they have to come to my office so I can swipe their credit card. I'm like, there's apps on your phone. Get the Square app and you can and put somebody's credit card right in. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's too dangerous. And is that me buzzing?
It's Charlie blowing up.
It's Charlie buzzing, blowing up. She wouldn't do PayPal because of fraud. She wouldn't do and I said, you're putting all these barriers in place for people to pay you your 10-week, $3,000 fee. Like, do you want to get paid or not? You got to make it easier for people to pay you. And the whole contract, sign the contract, have it come back, invoices to pay. I do less and less of that all the time. I have a coaching agreement and it says what you can expect of me and what I expect of you, but it's not a contract because believe me, if I want you out or if you want out, I don't want you there. And it purely states, if you don't want your next invoice, tell me, have a conversation, and that's it. It's over. We're done. So make it easier for people to pay you.
I have a lot of thoughts on what you said, Suzanne. Yeah, I say exactly the same thing. Make it easy to buy. So when people say, how do you take money? I say, how do you like to send money? And then when they tell me, I say, oh, that's my favorite way to accept money. It's always my favorite way to accept money, however you send me money, right? One person said, oh, I use Wise. Wise is super cool. It's 50 cents to send like $5,000. And you can send money from anywhere in the world because I have clients all over the world. But it took an hour to register for it. I had to put in my passport and all kinds of shit. They give you a credit card too that does automatic currency exchange if you travel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm selling for Wise. But anyway, it took me an hour with
What's
this.
it called? WIZE?
WISE.
Oh.
Fantastic. International
Okay.
currency transfer.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really great, but it takes an hour. You got to put in your passport. You got to jump through a lot of loops. So I'm on the call with this guy and his wife for a freaking hour doing a tech thing, which is one of the two most frustrating things to me. And I'm smiling the whole time. He pays me the money and I'm like, great, man. We start on Monday. I'll send you over the contract. I don't send the contract till I have the money either. And it's a non-refundable deposit. So if you quit or I fire you, you can't get your money back. So then he got a potential client. It was he and his wife were like 28-year-olds, right? And they were teaching people how to travel on the cheap. And they got an old guy, well, a guy who was like 70, that was going to buy for $3,000. to learn how to travel on the cheap. And the guy said, oh, I like to send money by PayPal. And so my client tells this guy why it's stupid to use PayPal and he should use Wise. And 3 days later, I'm like, what happened with dude, right? He's like, oh, he went with somebody else. I say, you're an asshole. Somebody was offering you $3,000 and you didn't take it. I said, you know, I hated that stupid Wise thing you made me sign up for. I was pissed off the entire hour. He said, you looked super happy. I said, you were sending me $8,000. I was super happy.
Yeah.
But I was pissed. Make it easy to buy. Have clear processes for when people work with you. Make sure you charge enough money. If you don't charge enough money, you look like a scam artist. If you're charging $1,000 or $3,000, you should be charging at least $5,000 or you look like a fraud. And the more money you charge, the less clients you get, the better clients you get, and the more money you make.
Repeat that. Repeat that.
People, the more money you charge, the less clients you get, the better clients you get, and the more money you make. The lady yesterday who's going to hire me, she's like, I would never spend $8,000 if I'm not going to listen. I said, you know, that's why I'm charging $8,000. And she said, you're not going to pressure me. I said, no, but don't come back to me in 3 months from now and say, why is it $12,000 now? Because that's what it is now. 3 months ago, it was $8,000. Supply and demand, the value went up, right? So, because I have people come back a year later and they're like, it's $3,000 more. I'm like, it's $3,000 better. Well, will you give it to me for the price? No, that's not what the price. I didn't have an online community. I didn't have an online program. I didn't have 8 other people that were helping out my new clients. My network wasn't as big. I didn't have my own networking group. There's a lot of things I didn't have a year ago that I have now. I wasn't as good at what I do. And a year from now, I'm going to be 2 times, you know, maybe not 2 times, 20% better than what I am now. You know, don't send written proposals. If somebody asks for a written proposal, say, I'll write something up and we can circle back, make sure we have a meeting of the minds. They're probably just dragging you along by asking for a written proposal. And anyways, all they're going to do is stare at the number on the written proposal. You want to say, I'll write something up, circle back, make sure we have a meeting of the minds so that you can have them in front of you so that you can say, hey, Bob, I saw your face scrunch up there. Did you have a question there? Or did you take issue with something I said? Because you always want to blame yourself for everything. If you're not closing deals, that's your fucking fault. You don't want to say, well, they didn't see the value in what I did. They were too broke to afford me. What did you do wrong? Why didn't they buy from you? When I leave a meeting, I always think, why didn't I close that person? What didn't I say? Or what did I do wrong there? And sometimes you can do a perfect job and still not get the deal. Sometimes this is not a good client for you. You know, some people that I meet with, like some of Suzanne's people, they have plenty of money. So they're like, I don't want to work that hard, Sajad. Like, I know you're a millionaire and, you know, older millionaire, and you're not looking to make more millions. It's fine. You're not going to want to do my program. So it's not always going to be 100%, but you should be thinking, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Even if it's not a qualified lead, because too many of my clients say, well, that just wasn't a qualified lead, because that takes away from the accountability. That takes away from you feeling bad about yourself. But you not feeling bad about yourself takes away from you growing, learning, evolving, and doing better. It's good to feel bad about yourself. What up, Jen?
Jen's going to practice her pitch.
The 30-second. I take the worry and stress out of starting, running, and growing your business by saving you time and energy and reducing your risk and uncertainty in your business. Will you be prepared for the worst case scenario when it does happen to you? Tomorrow may be too late, so why wait? I have so many wonderful things I could say. I wanted to just be able to add a little bit of value back to what he was saying a second ago about people asking for money. When someone asks you for money, you stop. That is another thing Sajad teaches, and you don't say a word. And let them sell themselves and be confident for them. These are all things he's taught. I almost got kicked out of Sajad's program after 3 hours and 3 weeks. And I needed the raw, you know, being told I'm too nice for business is what I learned. That I needed him to be hard on me. So that's why we were a great fit to work together. The scheduling part earlier, something that was super helpful for me, having the paper schedule next to me 12 hours a day. Number one was exhausting when you're actually working 12 hours a day and being extremely productive and not busy. But I would flip my schedule over and just write those other tasks there. Like I need to send an email to this person, message this person. When I had that specific time of 30 minutes allotted in my day, does it really take you 30 minutes to send 5 emails? Does it really take you 30 minutes to send 5 messages? No, it doesn't. So having that, just flipping my sheet and writing those things down gets it out of my brain. Something he taught me a lot too was getting out of my head and into my body. That's a whole nother thing, but a lot of people, I'm sharing that because a lot of people I'm sure get in their head and that gets in their way as a barrier. Too many things in my brain and a life of chaos. It really helps me a lot to write these things down and again, do it later in that schedule allotted time. And yeah, just setting aside the emotion, operating with intention, those are huge things. And being 100% accountable for everything that you do, which I still falter at here and there and will be called on it. And I appreciate that. I just say, got it. That's all I say. Yep, got it. When I'm called out on the things that I should be doing better at and avoiding, like you said earlier too, avoiding some of the things we don't want to spend our time on. Video, podcasting, presentations, so something I'm starting to do more of now. But yeah, that's a big thing. We tend to avoid the things we don't want to spend our time on. And rabbit holes, you'll find when you have 12 hours a day and you go, 30-minute increments, you'll go down rabbit holes very easily. I still find myself doing that quite frequently, but working on the schedule and using a timer if need be, we're all super, super helpful things, but you will still find it very easy to go down rabbit holes, even when you are working to work on a 30-minute schedule with quantifiable measurements. So a lot of things I wanted to add throughout there. So I just took some notes and wanted to throw it in.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
That was a fantastic commercial. Are we still recording? We need to put that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll pull that one out. That's for sure.
Jen, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Jen had the most remarkable change in 10 years of me doing this work. Really, it's pretty crazy. She's way stronger than she was before. She's guiding and coaching lots of other people now and calling them out, saying, why are they doing it this way? It's totally wrong. I'm like, yeah, I know. So that's pretty funny to see her. I think of all the people I worked with, she could probably, like, if I die, she could take over my program now and start doing to people what I was doing. One thing she said that I haven't said in the 3 weeks that I've been here, that I think is super important. Thank you for all that, Jen. When somebody asks for the price, don't state the price till they ask for the price. When they ask for the price, say it in a grown man's voice, in a deep man's voice, $10,000. Then don't say anything after that. Otherwise, it sounds like you're rash. I have one client say $3,000. Is that okay with you? I'm like, bro, idiot.
No.
I just asked somebody if your price was okay or not. So say in a grown man voice and then shutting up and just sit there. And they're gonna ha, ha. That's not talking. That doesn't count as talking. Don't start talking when they're humming. And then I had a sales guy hire me 2 years ago. So I said the price and then I sat there like this, staring at the screen. And 20 seconds later, he goes, "Did you freeze?" I said, "No, man." He goes, "Oh, fuck. How do I send the money?"
Well, something I used to do all the time when it came to the money, I would hesitate. I would also give too many options. Well, if we do 1 hour a week, it's this much. If we do 4 hours a month, it's this much. If you include personal training in with it, and so as a health coach, it was, I was hour rating myself, and that didn't work. And when I finally moved to a price for your transformation, whether it took us 3 months or a year, it's the same price. That changed people's sign up. value.
Why-
Like
wh-
they were
why-
like,
why-
oh, she's going to work with me till I get to my goal.
Right. So it's you having skin in the game that they appreciate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now,
Sajad,
of course, that's health coaching. So, results were a little bit more quantifiable. If they came to me
Right.
and lose 20 pounds, it was 20 pounds. And that's how we measured success rate. Business is a little different. So,
Sajad, you've been
Right,
at this
right.
for 10 years.
Yes.
Have you ever done a survey where you say to your clients, what do you think I should charge?
Yes. Every time the program's over. So the
Okay.
last one said 24,000. The one before that said 25,000.
But you don't charge that at the moment.
No, and I
Okay.
probably don't charge enough. It's difficult even for me, right? As you go up, it started $1,000, went to 3, went to 5, went to 6, went to 8, going to 12 next, right? Is you are going to get more rejection, and even at 8, it's still, how many people have $4,000 in the bank right now? How many people have 8,000 in the bank right now? So Suzanne's guest the other day was fantastic. The person that's looking to hire me is also from her community and said, well, if only you had Todd's thing, I could hire you today. I'm like, shit, I need to talk to Todd.
yeah.
But yeah, I know it's worth more than what I charge. There is a level of getting comfortable every time you go up.
Mhm.
And feedback from all my clients, 4% of my clients fail. And more than like 50% of them don't like me afterwards. I've tortured them for 6 weeks. So half of them don't even talk to me afterwards. But they know that I was worth a lot more than what I charged. Even the lady yesterday, she's like, so when I finish your program, either I'm going to be your friend or not be your friend, but either way, I'm going to know I got massive value, way more than what I paid for. I said, right. We might end up friends, we might not end up friends, but you will know that you got way more than what you paid for. And I think that's the main thing, knowing that what you provide, it's a deal. I mean, $8,000 is not nothing, right?
Yeah.
But
But you have to know that.
yeah, you have
you
to know
know,
that.
It's great for them to know, but you have to know in order to convey that. And I think that was a big hurdle for me. I worked with Charlie last year to really figure out who I am. And it was amazing to go deep on me. And it made me better at selling myself, at being myself, I guess.
One of my all of my clients say, that my program is it's a life transformational program. And I should tell people that. I'm like, I can't say that. It sounds like such bullshit if I say it. But every single one of my clients says, one of my last clients, he was a multimillionaire, 64 years old. And he said 3 weeks into my program, and I've heard this from several of my clients, even my older clients, I've lived my life completely wrong, which actually makes me feel a little bit bad that you're 64 years old and you feel like working with me in 3 weeks, you feel like you've lived your life completely wrong. That's a quote, right? So yeah, I know it's worth a lot more. I know I could charge, and I know there's a ton of frauds. People charge you $2,000, and then now that was entry. Now they charge you $6,000. Oh, now we're almost there. Now you pay me $12,000. That because you got to pay me the 12 grand, because this is where we get to the shit where you actually make fucking money, right? I don't do that. There's one program. There's no follow-up. There's no
Upsell. No
there's
OTO? You
there's
got no
upsell.
OTO?
But some of my clients asked me to set something up, or we'd have once a week meetings or whatever. I don't want to do it. In 6 weeks, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to be extremely successful. Make at least, it's not a guarantee, it's not a warranty, but you should be able to make at least $100,000 off of what I teach per year. And then you don't need me anymore, because either you do what I taught you or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you do, one of my clients is paying me late right now. He's like, well, this isn't working. I said, you texted me a week out of my program and said you're going to do it your own way. Don't tell me you're going to do it your own way and then not pay me on time. Because my way made you $7,000 in one day. Now you can't come up with $300? Like, come on, man. because you're doing it your way. Your way didn't work. That's why you hired me. But if you do it, you can't, it's not a 6-week program. It's not. It's what you got to keep doing. You got to keep doing it. You can't start working 8 hours a day. You can't start taking off on weekends and holidays. You can't start getting caught up in your feelings. You can't stop pitching everybody that you meet with. You can't stop asking for the sale. You've got to keep doing what I taught. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being.
Sajad, you're teaching people how to fish well. That's what you're teaching them to do.
Yes, sir.
And they once they learn how to fish from you, they just go up and they keep practicing, they get better at it.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
And I don't think my way is the only way. What I do know is that my way works. So if you want to do it another way, it's fine, but don't pay me freaking late, because now you did it a different way that didn't work. Or you hired a sales coach who's going to teach you a funnel system. You just got to keep your calendar booked up, keep pitching, keep researching, keep adding massive value, keep incorporating their needs in an interwoven way, and just understand it's mostly rejection. That's what it is. It's mostly rejection. That's what sales is. It's not personal. So you don't want to hire me, or even if you don't like me, I don't care. This is not my personal life. This is my job. I'm at work. So if you don't hire me, that's not a personal insult. That's potentially a professional insult, but
well, maybe they're just not ready for you yet. I don't see them rejecting me. They're just not ready yet. They either don't understand or they're not ready to do it, because it takes courage to dive into your program, right, Jen? It took Jen a lot of courage, not money, but
and a year and a half before she hired me too. Yeah, I had a guy in Chicago. I was at an in-person networking event, and he walked up. I had this happen twice. He goes, "Hey, you're Sajad." I'm like, "Yes, I am Sajad." I said, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, I follow you on all these platforms." He said, "I'm gonna hire you, but not now." I said, "Why not?" He said, "I'm lazy, and you're gonna yell at me." I said, "You're right. You shouldn't hire me. I will yell at you." I had another guy in person in Chicago do the same thing. "Hey, you're Sajad." I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Here's what I'm going to do. I quit my job 2 weeks ago. I'm going to try for 6 months on my own. Then I'm going to fail. Then I'm going to hire you." I said, "That sounds like a great plan, man. Go try to do it on your." It's better if people try it on their own, fail, and then hire me, because then they're going to listen better. What's bad is when they start paying people to write a book or do a funnel, like that lady from yesterday, Suzanne. Now she's fucking broke. Now she's wasted 20, 40 grand, credit cards maxed out on a bunch of frauds. You should have hired me in the first place. Then you wouldn't have wasted that. You wouldn't have wasted that time, that stress, and that you waste so much money.
Well, I can't tell you how many times it's come out of my mouth. You don't need a website. You don't need a funnel. You don't need fancy marketing or paid advertising. You need to know what you sell and know how to sell it. That's it. You don't need any, a book is a great thing. I just did a collaborative book last year, but not before you have income coming in. Same with a website, same with landing pages, same with, having a podcast and a newsletter and a blog and all these social media platforms. One platform, one offer, and making money.
Sell.
Yeah.
Get your ass out there and sell.
Yeah. I wish I had learned that lesson in the beginning.
And stop hiring frauds. Stop hiring people that are promising that they're going to teach you the way to make it easy. They're lying. If it's too good to be, this is what I learned from my grandma in the hood. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. I'm not promising you results.
You know what would be a great course? Teaching people how to buy coaching and consulting services. That would be a great course.
So first thing on my website, quit hiring fake ass business coaches. Have they ever done it themselves before? Because you shouldn't teach something that you haven't done before. Can I talk to your former clients? And what specifically are you promising to teach? I even see I joined Dan Poe's group, all these business coaches. One guy asked yesterday, "Is this vague?" He said, "I provide business coaching." He said, "Is this vague?"
Yes.
I said, get on my website. I'm not trying to sell you anything. The first page of my website shows you the 6 things we're going to go through. It's specific. And the first thing should be how to show massive. I'm trying to help you make as much money as fast as possible, right? One of my clients made 10 grand in the first 7 days because all we're focusing on is make money, show massive value, get people in front of you. Chella says this too. Get people on your calendar, have a product, know how to articulate massive value, get people in front of you and pitch. That's it. When I started out, I did 6 years business consulting with my tech company, and then 4 years now in April with Cause and Effect. When I started out with Cause and Effect, I had one piece of paper with 5 YouTube videos on it and headers for what we were going to cover. And I was selling that for 5 grand, right? So 2 weeks into my program, people would say, I don't have enough value to sell this stuff, Sajad. I say, what did I sell you? I sold you a piece of paper with 5 YouTube links on it for $5,000. That's what you bought from me, a piece of paper with other people's videos. So it's not about having this, that, and the other. I need to create, I need more of this, I need a funnel, I need a book, no, you don't. You don't want to deal with the rejection. It's subconscious. You're avoiding the rejection. So you're not putting yourself out there. You pitch 12 people a week. That's 48 people a month. You land 3 to 5 deals at $5,000. You're making $15,000 to $25,000 a month. You're in the 1% financially in the United States. It's not hard. You're making it hard to avoid the rejection. And I'm worried, well, I got to do this first. I got to do this first. You don't have to do anything. There's nothing new to do. Except put yourself out there and look stupid. One of my clients quit 5 days before the end of my program. She did some TikToks, which were really bad. And she said, I'm done embarrassing myself. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I'm quitting your program. I said, there's 5 days left. She said, but I have to listen to everything you say, and I'm not willing to put myself out there anymore. I said, then everything we've done is a waste of time. You know, you've wasted your time if at the end of the day, you're not going to do podcast presentations, social media posts, if you're not going to put yourself out there, just go get a job. Because Suzanne and I are all over the place all the time. And even if we look stupid, that's okay. She looks a lot less stupid than I do on the regular, but
I don't know. I kind of like looking
I don't care if I embarrass myself, you know.
I don't care either.
No.
All right, let's have a takeaway from today. Major takeaway, Charlie, before you go. Takeaway.
True confession. I never close on the first call, Sajad, never. Why is that? Because I got into this industry where everybody did that, and the industry had a terrible reputation because of it. And I did things differently. So people get something in writing from me of everything we're going to do together. But Michelle Martyr would say to me, Charlie, they're not all blueprint people like you. That's what she would tell me. So I'm in the process of adjusting old habits and say, I'm going to try this stuff. If it doesn't work, but I believe, Sajad, it's going to work. I'm going to take some risk in the next month. I'm going to try stuff, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I know that I affect people in a very positive way. They see me as telling the truth, that I can be trusted. So go ahead and ask for it while they're all warm and fuzzy about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I'm taking away, Suzanne. And I thank you very much for paying Sajad so much damn money to come here and do this.
I know.
Charlie, I'm going to pay you to come with me everywhere. You make me feel much better about myself.
Hey, $10,000 a month.
That's fine. I can afford it. That would be worth it. That'd be less than therapy that I would need.
There you go. With therapy, they keep bringing it back because you have to discover what it is.
I won't even pitch. I'll just be like, talk to Charlie. He understands.
Talk to Charlie.
Jason, what'd you get? You've heard me speak 58 times. Anything different?
Yeah. Jason, what's your takeaway?
Oh man, everything supported what I woke up first thing. You talked about waking up in the middle of the night. Mine was early this morning, but still. Just like, what are you doing? Like, you're worried about like taking action until this perfectly crafted offer is, all dialed in. It's the exact one thing you want to do for the next 15 years and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're worried about like the order of some words, like
Mhm.
just go talk to people. I
Yeah.
think that's been the big supporting takeaway of this whole conversation for sure.
Yeah,
Just get
stop
to it.
tweak, stop
Hey,
tweaking.
Suzanne, can I add, because it's the first time I met Jason. Jason, I want to add something. Will you look at what's sitting behind you? It says strategy and action. So lower the point size of strategy and increase the size of action. Because they
Big
look
time.
like they're evenly balanced, and you're spending, if you really look at it, the point size for strategy, you're overthinking it. I do the same thing, dude. So you got to do the massive action. That's what you got to do.
I heard
Oh, big time.
I heard a cool quote last week. Depression is when you're living in the past. Anxiety is when you're living in the future.
Right. Yep, living in
Casey.
now.
Casey, anything? Nothing? Something?
I need to change to lead with the emotion in my sales pitch.
Oh, that's huge.
Could that be telling a story, Sajad?
Potentially. I mean, you only got 30 seconds. If you're going to say your emotional connect is one line, and then your packages, and then your call to action. So that's your 30-second pitch. The way to get it is by talking to your former clients and asking them what are the 3 biggest takeaways. I do that on my workshop 6, the capstone. What are the 3 biggest things you got out of my program? It's usually the schedule and productivity thing is number 1, which is disappointing because it seems so. I cover lots of major concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's disappointing to me, but it's very valuable to them. That's the main feedback. But finding out from some of my clients are less stressed out, more organized, and more productive. That's what they tell me. And then that's what your pitch is. Your pitch is what your clients say that they get out of you. So just ask them what are three ways you felt better after working with me. And the word is felt, emotional words.
Yeah, emotional words. Casey, if you need an emotion wheel, or if anybody needs an emotion wheel, I have one, and it's the major emotions. Like if somebody's angry after working with you, there's like 20 different anger emotions, so different words to use. I'll send it to you if you want, Casey. Because if somebody says confident, if I made somebody feel more confident, I might not use that word on social media. I would want some other words because confidence means something different to everyone. So I want something a little clearer. Sure, Judy.
Yeah, and if anybody else wants an emotional wheel, you can date my ex-girlfriend.
That's totally different. Lee, any takeaways?
Yeah, so many takeaways. Thank you so much for the presentation. So making sure to be able to articulate your ideas at all times. That's what the major thing that I got out of it to everybody. Show everybody that you have great value so that if they're not a potential client, they can tell somebody else what you do. But if they're really interested in what you do, they'll be like, I want to hire you. And I've been thinking about how I've been going to networking events and connecting with people and not essentially pitching. And the idea of what pitching really is just making sure you can articulate the value that you bring to other people.
Right.
So I really think that's awesome. And of course, so many things that I wrote down here, but yeah, how to perform the pitch. I thought that was really great to break down some of these things that I heard, how to form it, the emotional component to it, and what that means. And then also, yeah, I think that'll be it for now. But I have a whole list of things. Most people said stuff.
I know something else that's going on with you, so be careful about this. It's called the 3 C's. Don't change your pitch. The first week of my program, you create your pitch. You're not allowed to change it for at least 4 months. Because when you change your pitch, 3 things happen. You sound like you're lacking in confidence, convoluted, and confusing. It happened to you at my event the other day, right? Or some event I saw you at recently.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about these 5 iterations of this pitch you've created. You need to, by the end of today, decide what your pitch is and then leave it alone, because you can create for years. Program creation can take, I did a 12-week course with one of my clients I put it together for him in 37 minutes. He had been working on it for 2 years.
Wow. Well, I can say something along the lines of I help people skip the small talk and speak from the heart. I have more stuff to work on, but I'm definitely unsure about that right now in this moment. I'm going to work on that and complete that. I really appreciate your thoughts. And the next time you see me, you run into me, you'll hear me say something like what the other people have said.
Nice.
Guaranteed.
Lee,
What's going on?
think about what they get. How does their future state change as a result of working with you? What's the outcome? What's going to be different? You're going to lose weight. You're going to jump higher. You're going to speak faster, whatever it is. What is the change that they're going to be exhibiting as a result of working with you?
They'll
You're-
be able to express themselves clearly.
And what
That's
difference
the-
does that make? What difference does that make?
They won't be misunderstood. They'll be able to connect with people.
Ooh, wait, I got it.
And-
Speak clearly so you can build your confidence and connect with people on a different level.
There you go.
Now we're done. Don't rewrite it.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, Judy, what do you got?
Yeah, you said this in the first one, but it's definitely on it captured my attention, is the 5 benefits for each product I offer. I really like that.
Oh, and don't forget the logistics. Don't forget to put the potential client in the shoes of somebody that's already working with you.
Mhm.
So these 5 benefits of this package, and this is on that package, I'm going to send you a survey. It's going to take, then we're going to have a 1-hour meeting to discuss the survey. Then I'm going to, this is what's going to happen. This is what it looks like when you hire me. Cool, man.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome value as always, my friend.